Okay, Richard, is it a Fife buyers or sellers property market? What's your thoughts?
Well, actually, Jim, navigating.
Oh, I was
Enjoying
quite enjoying that music.
that.
We didn't usually get funky music like that
No,
anymore.
no, I listened to it earlier and thought that.
It's I tell you what though, is it a Fife buyers or sellers property market? I mean, this is a real question that most people want to ask every single time. If I'm a seller, am I going to get the best price for my property, or how
Yeah,
long am I going to take to sell my property? What other things have we got to think about? What price might I get for my property? Um, how much will I get over the home report value for my property? When will I be able to move? What's the average time to move as well? In terms of in Fife itself, how long does it take to get a solicitor? How long does it take to do the conveyancing? All these different things come into play. When you're a buyer, it's like, can I lowball this so I can get the cheapest price possible for this property? So when you're a buyer, you'd want to know if this is a buyer or seller's market, definitely in Fife. I
yeah,
mean, navigating the property market in Fife, we understand the current market dynamics is essential when looking for your dream home or selling your cherished property. Recent data has actually revealed a fascinating surge in property transactions across the UK, with Fife included in all this bustling activity that's going on right now.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as of April 2024. Property sales and listings have increased significantly, indicating a robust market. Yet, what does it mean for you, the buyer and seller? Is it a Fife buyer's market, favouring those looking to purchase? Or is it a seller's market, giving the edge on those wishing to sell? Now, I get a picture of Harry Hill in my head at this point in time saying, fight! between between the buyer and the seller on the stage, fighting it out. Is it a buyer or seller's market? What about this article, Richard? What we're going to talk about this article. What's this we're going to look at?
Yeah, so today we're going to delve into the latest figures and trends, and they offer really crucial insights and strategic advice for prospective buyers and
Mhm.
sellers in Fife. And as we go through, you'll discover the opportunities in this dynamic property landscape and how we can best navigate to your advantage.
Mhm. Yeah. So we'll look at it now. We've done some data up
Yeah,
to a couple of weeks ago, and that's fine because it's usually the same anyway. It doesn't change in week to week. It changes more or less from month to month or quarter to
or
quarter. It's more
quarterlies, yeah.
important. So up to Sunday, the 21st of April, 2024, the number of UK homes that went under offer, that is, in other words, sold subject to concluded missives,
Yeah.
was 10.3% higher than during the same period in 2023. That is 377,217 home sales agreed on year to date in 2024 compared to 341,271 in 2023, which represents, drum roll, another
Around about
36,000 properties sold,
around about
more than the
30,000.
previous year.
Yeah.
It's not good news.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. Maybe they're oversupplied. I know
Well,
it'll
then
stabilize I know it'll stabilize the market, but is it really good? I mean, transaction numbers is good because transaction numbers last year was down.
I was just going to say it depends what you were saying about. Obviously, initially you were talking about under offer and then subject to and ones that were sold subject to conclusion of missives.
Yeah,
So it's actual transactions in comparison to offers
yeah, definitely.
you need to look
So
at.
transactional numbers actually is probably the most important thing. It tells you the health of the health of the Fife property market and the UK property market overall. Any property market is really gauged by their health is really gauged by the number of transactional numbers year on year, and that means how many people are actually buying property. That's what it's all down to.
Yeah.
So the very fact that the number of properties sold has gone up by 10% could be welcomed as actually quite good news.
Hmm.
I mean, when we compare it to the average of, let's say, 2017, 2018, 2019,
Yeah.
or to date, right now, and year to date, the average sales figures agreed each year, up to this point in time for each year, is 351,027. So it's actually significantly more than that as well. It's about 25,000, 26,000 more.
Yeah. And 2017, 18, 19, that's all leading up pre-pandemic.
Mhm. So the fact that we're selling more houses means there's more jobs and there's more business to go around for contractors, small businesses, people, plumbers, heating engineers, electricians, kitchen fitters, bathroom fitters, decorators, carpenters, roofers, gardeners, all these different things.
Yeah. All the trades. Yeah.
Yeah, this is why the health of your economy can really be down to the transactional numbers of the number of properties sold year on year in any economy can actually give you a strong indication about how well that economy is doing. Combined, and I might say, with the amount of money it's getting borrowed,
Yeah.
because you could be borrowing just to pay for all that when it comes down to it. So if borrowing goes through the roof, then you're overextending yourself and potentially you're putting yourself in a vulnerable situation later on. That's obviously what we need to do because then it causes inflationary pressure because everybody's borrowing money and using more resources. Hence the reason why base rates go up to make borrowing money more expensive.
Yeah.
See the circle? How that all fits?
Yeah, definitely. And then, I mean, we talk about Fife obviously a lot, but this article does that we're talking about today does really cover the whole country. And
Mm,
every UK region has seen an increase in the number of properties selling, subject to missives.
yep.
Yet, what's more interesting is that the different regions of the UK property market have shown a remarkable uniformity and
Yep.
growth across the country year to date in 2024, signalling, like you said, Jim, a robust and really healthy, widespread confidence throughout the market.
That's key. If people have confidence in the market, that's what will sustain it going through, and that's
Yeah,
what will help the economy overall and the economic growth. It's when they lose confidence. You could still have a great, fantastic market, but if the consumer loses confidence, therefore the market will drop as a natural result. Even though it's staring you straight in the face that the numbers say that is not the case. It's all about consumer confidence because that then gets it. And you're saying, as you said, Richard, it's quite an equilibrium right across the country, and
hmm
it's widespread rather than just localized to certain individual areas. Good news then is Lower England, London, places like that as well are usually the first to go when it comes to issues like this and
yeah,
transactional numbers and the health of the property markets. And it gives a strong indicator of what's yet to come in the rest of the UK and Scotland and Fife itself. So I think we should really need to look at that. So every region has that increase in the number of properties, and you said the robust health. But leading the charge here is Inner London, like I spoke before, showcased a stellar rise of 21.09%, closely followed by Outer London at 20.47%. Is somebody trying to launder money by any chance? All these overseas landlords or companies buying property in London. That's often what happens, believe it or not. A lot of London is owned by overseas companies. And it's people actually, and you don't get to know who owns these companies. So it's kind of like washing money, if that
yeah,
makes sense. Not that I'm saying there's anything criminal about it, but it's maybe borderline.
yeah, a bit unethical.
But it still reinforces the enduring appeal of the capital. And East Anglia and South East are really not far behind and registering impressive gains of 19.65% and 19.48%, respectively, underscoring the continuation of the southeast of the UK.
Yeah.
The Midlands and the East and the West also enjoyed substantial growth of 18.2% and 8.02% respectively, indicating a resilient market presence. Up north and northwest at 17.7%, and Yorkshire and Humberside at 17.27%, demonstrating significant upward movement, whilst the southwest advanced were a respectable 16.11 increase in
Just going to say
percent.
that's still quite a good respectable increase, like you said, 16.11.
What about Richard? What about northeast Wales and
Yeah.
Scotland and that? What was up with them?
So yeah, so the northeast, Wales, Scotland, and Ulster presented growths of 14.74%, 14%, 12.43%, and 12.38% respectively, suggesting that there's a balanced expansion across the entire UK. As I said, Scotland falls in there at 12.43%. So although most pronounced in London and the southeast, the growth spectrum exhibits a promising scenario for the UK property sector as a whole, with the narrowing gap between the highest and lowest growth regions illustrated a cohesive national uptrend.
Upward trend, yeah, upward trend. It's interesting to see that Scotland's actually a lot lower in terms of the number of property transactions that came through. And I would expect it to be higher because it's a lower price point overall in the UK. However, the key here is the multiplier. In other words, how much of the average salary does it take to buy an average property in each area? Now, I would say that because of attractive pricing, it's going on down in England, because property prices have dropped slightly in England. People are being more realistic about their price point, and that's probably what's attracting a lot more people to move and buy in the English market, and especially in and outer London. When it comes to Scotland, I think we're still in the same mentality about the offers over system, which we do anyway, and that's fine to do that because we start at the bottom, England starts at the top, and we'll work our way to the middle, and that's terms of how the two markets sort of work. But what I'm seeing is when we come to Scotland, I think there's still a lot of people expecting the boom time still to roll on.
Yeah, I see that quite a lot as well. The expectation's still there, whereas things, although they're still good, have tend to level out a little.
In addition to increased property sales, the supply of UK properties, for example, on the market in April 2024 was 11.8% higher than in April 2023. There's a lot more supply on the market as well. So maybe a combination of more supply will equal more sales automatically anyway, but then more supply means a rebalance in prices.
Yeah.
Not a dip, not an up, maybe a rebalance. Maybe they're probably plateaued out. They probably are where they are right now in terms of the actual price itself. The increase in number of properties for sale is good news, as I said, and it gives buyers a greater confidence, I think, in the market itself. So even if you sell your property, there's no guarantee it will go through to exchange missives and completion. Thankfully, 2024. Sale fall-throughs are 22.5% of gross sales year to date, which is much lower than the 7-year average of 24.3%. And everybody's going, as much as that? Because we've got a different system than England, haven't we?
Yeah.
England is a bit different, and it's like, your word is your bond in Scotland almost, and it's really frowned upon, and a solicitor will drop you like a stone if you don't do things correctly or if you're underhanded about you doing things. In
Whereas in
England,
England, you can walk away at the last gasp. Yeah.
walk away the last gasp and nobody will bat an eyelid. Or you could decide to lowball somebody at the last minute and say, oh, I've decided to shave 10,000 off it. And the solicitor won't turn around and go, well, I'm not going to represent you anymore. They'll just stick with it. So it's maybe a point of ethics as well. Not that I'm saying that English solicitors are a bit different, but they're allowed to do conveyancing. Whereas, in conveyancers, they're allowed to have conveyancers that aren't solicitors.
Yeah, you could do it all. Yeah.
Yeah, with the Scottish market, you have to have a solicitor to sign everything off. You cannot do a property transaction as a normal layperson, or even as a paralegal. You still have to have it signed off by a qualified solicitor approved by the Law Society of Scotland.
Yeah,
which is why they keep a tight control over how they do things and their I would say their morality in comparison to the other parts of the UK.
So you talk about obviously the fall through percentage, and obviously it is lower than the average. But Then that would bring us to the actual sales, net sales.
Mm-hmm. So the net sales, then that what we're talking about here is the house sales agreed less the fall throughs. I mean, they paint an even better picture with a rise of 12.6% year on year. Now, in 2021, up to year to date 2020 to 2024 April, it was 295,912 net sales. And this time last year, up to April as well, was 262,871, which is a differential of about 33,000, something like that. Yeah, 33,000, which is quite significant. That's about 10% differential more in terms of house sales. So I think the key here is prospective purchasers and sellers are witnessing a rise in confidence as mortgage rates, after climbing sharply last year, have begun to decline recently, although in the last week or two, they've started to rebase based on the Bank of England giving out messages that potentially base rates might not actually drop towards the end of the year, so they're getting a bit nervous and pushing the rates up as a result. I did a show on that yesterday about why mortgage rates are going up and not down at this point in time for 2 and 5 year fixed rate deals.
And then where's inflation sitting at the moment now?
3.8%.
Right.
Yeah, still nowhere near the 2, almost double still. So there's still a drive to drive inflation down. Funny enough, I was watching parliamentary questions for the Treasury a couple of days ago on the news, maybe on the Parliament channel or something like that. Things that you do. It's like, who watches that? Me. So I was watching it, and the Treasury said, actually, the person that was responsible for the Treasury actually said at the box in the House of Parliament, he actually quite openly stated that inflation should be coming down to the what it should be, which is the 2%, in the next 2 or 3 months. And I'm like, really? Wow. Now, for me personally, if you've got serious confidence to stand up and do that right now, and you think it's going to drop in the next 2 or 3 months, you should seriously be thinking about maybe giving the Bank of England a nudge and saying, maybe we should ease off on interest rates now and maybe bring it down a quarter a point just to slow down the speed that we're getting to 2%.
Yeah.
Because what happens if we're hit?
I was just going to say, so what happens if they come down too rapidly or too low?
Could end up with stagflation. That's even worse.
Okay.
Stagflation is worse, because then that means prices come down. That means people have to lay people off, or they have to cut their salaries.
Yeah.
And if you cut their salaries, then guess what? They can't buy as much as they did before. They don't move house as much as they did before. Therefore, you don't need all these goods and services anymore. Therefore, people have to lay off, and it could lead to layoffs.
Yeah.
Or downsizing, they call it, or letting people go. It's like, it's not just like getting rid of them, sacking them, because effectively that's what it is. But you can see how that ties in overall, and how that could have an effect. I mean, it was a steep fall from the 9.6% in October 2022. Furthermore, the average mortgage rates have settled, with many banks and building sites now offering pretty decent rates still. For example, at the time of writing, NatWest was offering a 5-year fixed rate deal at 4.37% with a 30% deposit. Virgin Money was a 5-year fixed rate deal at 4.69% with a 10% deposit. And Leeds building site was 5.14%, a 5-year fixed for those that are on a 5% deposit. Now, they might have slightly gone up because because when we wrote this in 2 days ago or 3 days ago, that's when they decided that they're going to put their 2 and 5 year fixed rate deals up. But it might just be slightly, but it's still good news, because most are under the 5% level, and that's kind of where they want it to be. So I think, despite these positive signs, though, Fife house price levels are expected to hold steady, with the market remaining buyer-friendly due to mortgage affordability issues. Now, since 2021, on average, mortgages have gone up on affordability issues by 60%. That's a huge jump in people's mortgage costs. Yeah. They basically got to find another £60 for every £100 of their mortgage. So if you're paying £500 before, you're now paying £800.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
So where do you find 300 quid a month just like that? 3,600 a year, and then you've got to earn about 5,500 to 6,000 to get that. So it's quite, you just, if you, for most people, if you can magic that, if you can magic another 300 quid out the air, then you must be doing pretty well, or you must be saving, or you must be making a decent income, and not actually going beyond your means.
Just got to
And
say, doing proper cutbacks and living within your means.
I would think so, yeah, definitely. So we've got affordability issues. What about the easing of mortgage costs then, Richard?
Yes, well, I mean, mortgage costs, I mean, compared to the summer of 2023, has undoubtedly sparked renewed interest in dealings in the property market, particularly after a lull period in the second half of last year, with many considering a move put their plans on hold. Do you know, people that were considering a move did kind of hold back. This revitalisation is anticipated to boost the volume of home sales, which had dipped to an 11-year low of just over 1 million in 2023.
See, I think a lot of people were waiting to think, where's this going to go and where are we going to end up, and is
And
it going
kind
to
of
level out?
hesitating.
Yeah, it's the thing. It's the thing. Is can I call it the gambler's instinct? It's like, oh, it might come down. It
It's
might,
kind of waiting, yeah.
because the media's been talking about it coming down all the time, haven't they? So they sit there and go, it might come down, it might come down, I better hold off, I better hold off. Somebody's telling me, the media's telling me the rates are going to get better. In actual fact, the rates started to go up still. And they stuck there, they weren't coming down at all. So then the market turned round with the mortgages and went, okay, we'll have to put our 2-year and 5-year fixed rate deals up even higher than what you've got just now. Hence the reason why we beated the drum about 6 months ago to a year ago, saying, for God's sake, fix your mortgage now.
Yeah.
Because you'll get the best rates now, because it ain't coming down anytime soon.
No. And I think, nevertheless, it is unlikely that this momentum will cause a marked rise in house prices in 2024, with the market maintaining a delicate equilibrium. In contrast to, say, 2011's full-on extreme sellers market.
Yeah, I mean, Fife homeowners, for example, planning to sell in 2024, so now and the rest of the year, may be buoyed by this uptick in the property market. However, they should temper their expectations as buyers remain keen on, I think, value, which could dampen the current recovery of the pace of the property market. Caution is also advised due to the traditional hesitance seen in the property market during an election, a general election year.
Yeah.
Usually, so what's happening right now, I think, for a lot of people, and I could see it sometimes in the market, there's a bit of hesitance for people to commit. And it's a jittery thing that everybody gets when there's an election, a general election year, with buyers and sellers often taking a more conservative, with a small c, approach as elections loom.
Yeah.
So what would then be the result of that then? What if you were to say what?
Well, this is
what would this tell us?
This is really the time to start being realistic with your pricing. And if you're going to put your Fife property on the market, you really need to be realistic with it. So, what sort of market are we in? Is the question then. So, the measurement of whether it's a buyer's balanced or a seller's market is based on the proportion of properties marketed as sold subject to missives and under offer compared with the total number of properties on the market. So just for example, if there was 43 properties sold subject to conclusion of missives and 100 properties available or for sale, then 43% as a percentage of 100.
It's 43%.
Yeah.
So
that was just a simple example.
Yeah, this isn't just a numbers game. It's a real gauge of market sentiment.
Yeah.
And I'll say that again. This is not a numbers game. This is a real gauge of market sentiment. It's worked year in, year out, every single time. Just let me explain what market's what.
Okay.
Okay. So an extreme buyer's market is determined as a percentage of 0 to 20%. In other words, 0 to 20% of the existing homes on the market have only sold. A buyer's market is from 21% to 29%. A balanced market, who would have thought we'd have a balanced market? I never even thought. I just thought buyers or sellers. You never really thought about
Yeah.
balanced. But balanced is a kind of 50-50 approach, although it's no 50-50 when it comes to the stats. It's between 30 and 40%. A seller's market is between 41 and 49, and a hot seller's market is 50 to 59. An extremely hot seller's market is 60% plus. In other words, 60% of the properties on the market right now are actually sold. Now, I could understand that, because when you think about it, that means there's no much stock left to actually buy if there's 60%, and therefore prices would go up, and it would be a hot seller's market, an extreme hot seller's market as a result.
Where would you
So the weight,
say? Sorry.
it can't be overstated, though. You've got to, Richard, the weight of these brackets can't be overstated. They directly impact everything from listing prices to negotiating leverage. In other words, you need a strong negotiator. Now, see when times when markets are down at the real rock bottom, that's the time where you realise that you've got to have an extremely good, skilled negotiator to represent you on your behalf to get your house actually sold for the right
Yeah.
price. Equally, though, I always maintain in an extreme seller's market, my cat could sell a house at that point in time, more than likely.
Yeah.
But what
And
I say is my cat can't negotiate the best price at the end of it, though. They could sell it, but it can't negotiate the best price because it doesn't understand the buyer. It doesn't speak English, for example. So it doesn't understand the buyer, and it has no way of negotiating, and my cat's not got any skills. But it could literally just put it on Rightmove, and it'll probably get it sold anyway for any odd price if it gets an offer in. And all it needs to do is get its wee paws out, its opposable thumbs, and then type on the keyboard, and then sit and say, I'm even thinking about how this is done.
Always in the detail, Jim.
You can watch the wee cat doing it. It's like one of these TikTok videos.
It's right. You're right though. Once you start to enter that balanced buyers and then into the buyers market, that's when your agent and the negotiation skills and that start to show.
Yeah, but equally, I think all year round, and even in any other market, I think it's important. I just think a lot of people think because my house will sell anyway. It doesn't matter. I had somebody the other day. Sophie told me this in the office. When she went in to see the guy went, "I just need somebody to put it on Rightmove as quick as possible because my house will sell itself." Okay,
I've had that before.
and you know what we do. So why would you think Rightmove would just be the answer? Because 70% to 80% of the audience that we have do not visit Rightmove at all. So if you're just watching on Rightmove, you've lost 70 to 80% of the audience.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, Rightmove ain't the biggest on the West Coast in Glasgow. It's not the biggest website, and either is Zoopla. And that's what a lot of people don't realise.
Mm-hmm.
Rightmove's not really the biggest in Fife. Zoopla's bigger.
Yeah.
And it gets more of an audience. You just see Rightmove more. So it's all about, and even when you go over to Edinburgh Solicitors Property Centre is bigger than Rightmove in terms of exposure in the Edinburgh market. Why do you think that is? Because it's called Edinburgh Solicitors Property Centre. Somebody actually said to me the other day about it, and they said, "What do you think about the Edinburgh Solicitors Property Centre?" And I went, "Well, it's no good for here, because we're in Fife. Who's going to go into Edinburgh and look for a property in Fife? That makes no sense at all." And he went, "I never really thought about it like that. They were trying to push it as if it was something." Yeah, honestly, they try to push it as if it's something great. The Edinburgh Solicitor, you'll be on the Edinburgh Solicitors Property Centre, and it's like, okay, but no one looking for a property in Fife is going to go on an Edinburgh website. They're going to go straight for a property website in Fife. Fife Properties does what it says in the tin. Hence the reason why we get over 500,000 visitors a year. Because it does what it says in the tin. If it comes up and you've got a choice, and it's like, do I choose that odd name for an estate agent, or do I choose that odd name for an estate agent, but I don't really know where they've got properties, and I see one that says Fife. There you go. Click. I'm looking for a property in Fife. Fife Properties. Done. Job done. That's why you get over 500,000 visitors. So the current Fife property market, let's look at this in a wee snapshot so we understand what the property market's like. So to calculate the Fife property market's current status. Let's incorporate the most recent findings for April 2024. Now, the number of statistics have been taken from the website, the advisory. This is an analytical website, which has calculated the market state for many, many years. It's kind of like you've got the Office of Budget Responsibility, you've got the IMF, which is the International Money Federation, you've got Moody's and Standard and Poor's. You've got all these agencies that actually calculate all the different analytics and come up with and give people assurance whatever market they're looking at is going to be stable based on the data they're producing. So this is why the advisory is actually quite good for that. And I'm sharing them from the summer of 2018 to April 2024. This is quite interesting. Yep. Here we go right now. The Fife postcodes. The 5 postcodes districts of KY1 to KY16 combined show they actually show an extreme seller's market. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
That's no surprise. Do you know that? Extreme seller's market, 54% right there. See right there?
Mm-hmm.
So this is that. Look at what it was. Look at what it was when you go in. Look at it drill down. When we go into the pandemic and then it goes into the boom period, 79 and 85%, then 66, 56, 59, 57, 56, 54, 51, 51, 51, 54. So just on the cusp of a hot seller's market and an extreme seller's market. Now, I wouldn't have thought that, but I think this is a lot to do with a lot of other factors. And let me explain.
Yep.
Let me explain what this is. Throughout 2023, for example, the Fife property market was in the mid 50s, hot sellers market, and expected because of the seasonal nature of the property market in February 2024, this has reduced to 51%. Since February 2024, it's slightly increased, so it's on the cusp to go into an extreme sellers market. But I think it's a lot to do with price point. I can see a lot lower value properties selling extremely quickly because of affordability. Makes it easy for them. But I can see a lot of higher value properties, aka 300,000 and up, taking a lot longer to sell, and they're the ones that are doesn't take up as much volume of the number of transactions in the numbers. Therefore, the lower value properties are actually selling quite quick, outweigh the higher value properties that are selling slower. Therefore, the proportion increase is a lot greater in terms of the percentage because of that. And in previous years, when you went to the boom market, where it was about 80 and 79%, 85% and 79%, we were seeing right across the board, every type of property was selling, no matter what, because base rates were at minus 0.5%, weren't they? 0.5% or 1% base rates were selling. So you're getting interest rates at 2%. No wonder everything was selling. No wonder it was an extreme hot sellers market, and it was at about 85% for that reason. But I think we've got a two-tier system still for that whole aspect and whole outlook in the property market. So two-tier system for definite. When you get 300,000 upwards, it's going to take a bit longer. I still think 3,000, 100,000 and upwards is more a seller's market than an extreme seller's market. I think there's a two-tier. Definitely below, well, we're selling. But that said, I mean, there's Blacklaw's Cottage. You know, that was on at 650,000 and it's away in about 5 days at the back of Anstruther.
You'll always have the odd one that's the exception to the rule, though.
I think so. I think that's definitely true. So then, Richard, what are the consequences and thoughts for the Fife property market then?
So, I mean, that new data kind of prompts with me to maybe take stock and maybe ponder a wee bit. For Fife sellers, we are transitioning.
Should we stop to ponder?
But yeah, for Fife sellers, we are transitioning into a market where sellers must be more strategic, flexible, and a little bit more patient as well. It would help if you brace yourself for your home to be on the market a little bit longer, with an extended marketing period as well.
I think that's what people have got to realise.
Yeah, and also, like you said, Jim, realistic pricing is even more vital than ever, and setting it at the right price is crucial for attracting the suitable buyers for your property.
Yeah, but do we think having your house on the market a lot longer would suggest that you would actually possibly get not the offer you would get in the beginning. I don't think
necessarily.
that's factually true.
No.
Because there's this misnomer out there, or this this message that's always sent by most estate agents, and most people actually believe this: the longer my house stays on the market, the less likely it is to sell for the price I'm asking.
The less attractive it becomes, yeah.
Yeah, whereas I don't buy into that, because your perpetual audience, you're in Fife, for example, you've got 20 people buying and selling every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So as one day passes, another 20 people come into the market looking for a property, and to them, your property, even though it's been on the market for, say, a year, is a new property.
Yeah,
It's a
might be
new
the ideal
property.
one.
So who do you think's actually letting the site down then when it comes to, oh, that property's been in the market for a long time, maybe I should lowball it? Who do you think lets the site down then? Is it the estate agent? Because they're just accepting the fact that they've got that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that happen over the years, and because they've got into that mindset of, oh, this has been on for months, and if they get an offer through, and it's like you say, a low ball offer, but they just want rid of it, and then they try and convince the seller that this is what they should be accepting.
Turnover.
Which is
Fees.
turnover, and it's not good negotiation skills at all.
Fees. We're a volume agent. We're after fees because we need that to survive. We're a race to the bottom. I said that to a client the other day. They said, so-and-so was in at the back of you, or in before you. I had them in, and I said, yep, okay, I know exactly what will happen here. It's a race to the bottom for fees. I bet the first thing they said was, how low can you go in terms of what you would accept? And also, they would give you an astronomical low fee in order to get you a list with them straight away. I went, how did you know that?
That's what they do.
Right, because that's what they're doing. They're just wanting you as quick as possible. How low can you go is not the estate agent you should be picking. Because immediately before they've even put your house on the market, they're assessing how quick they could get it sold for any price.
Yeah.
My cat could have done better, because it wouldn't have been able to negotiate at a lower price. It would have just said, well, that's it. Take it or leave it. They wouldn't be able to say, I'll accept that lower offer if you want. It would have just, well, that's the price. I'll put it on. That's all I'm wanting. So yeah, you're absolutely right. So what's the next thing we need to think about then?
Yeah, so I was talking about obviously setting the right price, and it's really crucial for attracting the right buyers and things.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because your chances of selling your Fife home have dropped in the last few years. So if we look at an example for in spring 2022, 85.53% of Fife homes that were on the market sold and completed. Since the 1st of January 2024, that figure has dropped to 78.97%. So there's a bit of difference there from a couple of years ago. So your marketing strategy is just as important. Employing tools such as video and virtual tours and things as well, targeted social media campaigns, interactive property listings could really be beneficial in more ways than one and than the normal marketing for your property in 2024.
I gave someone a perfect analogy this morning when they said, I'm just wanting, why would I be doing video? And I said to them quite clearly, I said, what's your favourite programme? And they said Vera. I'm not really sure what that is, if anybody knows what that is. There you go. My favourite programme's Vera. And I says, how many people do you think watch Vera? It says, probably about 2 million. I went, okay. So 2 million people watch Vera, and they're watching the video. They're really enjoying themselves, and everybody's talking. I said, so imagine if I decided to take your favourite programme, Vera, and then what I did was, instead of you being able to watch it, I gave you pictures of the cast, and I gave you the script to read. Do you think 2 million people would still do that? And he went, no way. No. And I said, do you know that's the way traditional estate agents is done today?
Yeah.
Photographs and descriptions. And the penny dropped. And he said, oh, I get it now. The video does all the heavy lifting. Yeah. The video does all the qualification. The video tells them everything more than what I'm talking about video. I'm not talking about silent movie, like green sleeves in the background while you're walking around with a camera. I'm talking about a talk-up video. Somebody presenting a property, telling people what it is, where it is, and why it would appeal to them, and what potential it's got as well, and why would they want to live there. That is a video walkthrough, not a green sleeves with a video with green sleeve music in the background and nothing else. So presenter talk-ups are essential in today, because I've just proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt. Your best television programme, if I just gave you the script to read and the photographs of the actors to look at, instead of watching on the telly, less people would watch it, significantly less. And that's how traditional estate agency is done today. So marketing strategy is everything here. You're absolutely right, Richard. So for Fife buyers, expect intense competition if you're interested in the highly sought after types of properties. This is what you've got to understand as a Fife buyer. Securing mortgage pre-approval can put you ahead of prospective buyers. Consider expanding your search area to discover potential deals that others may have actually overlooked. And I'm talking about things like, why live in Ely if you could live 3 miles up the road in St. Monans and just walk along the coastal path to Ely at a completely different price point?
A very different price point.
and you won't have a ghost town when it comes to winter, which is what happens to Ely most of the time.
Yeah.
Why would you do that then? And it's a classic example as well as, why would you constantly live in St Andrews if that's the case, or try to live in St Andrews, if you could live outside of St Andrews and commute in every day and have a different price point? Somebody said that to me once, how have I not got a house in St Andrews? I demand a house in St Andrews. I went, do what everybody else does and buy something that you can afford outside the area and commute into St Andrews.
Yeah, you could pick up something at a much different price point, 10, 20 minutes outside St Andrews.
But I don't think anybody realizes that. I don't think anybody sees that. You know, I mean, my boys, you know, we live on that, you know, about maybe half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour outside St Andrews, and the boys work in St Andrews. One works at the buyer, one works at the R&A, and it's easy for them to commute back out. You know, Ben works from home because he's in IT as well sometimes. So best of everything, but it works very, very well, and it doesn't cost them a fortune. Well, it doesn't cost them a fortune because they get everything free in the hotel park.
Yeah, because they stay at home.
It's like a good food and drink. Even things like, how did that get off the floor and get back into my cupboard washed? How is that? How is that possible? It's like, that's because your mum probably does it for you. How did that stuff get in the dishwasher and washed when I put it in the sink? What happened there? It's magic. It's like, so this is the sort of things as a buyer to think about. Consider expanding your search to discover the potential deals just outside the area you're looking for. Conversely, in less competitive markets, Fife buyers will have more leverage to negotiate from offer price to maybe the inclusion of the carpets, fixtures and fittings, some of the things that you might actually like, it maybe the person will leave, the seller will leave as a natural result, maybe the curtains or the blinds, maybe they're good quality plantation blinds or something like that.
A lot of people
you'll also have the luxury of choice and the time with other homes. What's the thing we've got to remember though?
So I think what you need to remember is that 4 out of 5 sellers are also buyers. So what you may lose on the sale might be compensated for on the purchase.
So you might end up losing maybe £5,000 from your sale price because you've had to compromise. But when you go to buy, you might actually get an upswing of £5,000 as well. So it's a neutral transaction overall. This is what a lot of buyers and sellers don't get. It's like, I want 10% more for mine, but I want to pay 10% less for the other person.
Less on the purchase,
That's no going to happen unless you find a unicorn, and that's probably not going to happen either. So you have to be realistic and understand what the nuances of the property market is and how people think. I think external influences such as global economic trends, like we talk about most of the time, and inflation, and interest rate repercussions, and they all could cast a shadow on the property market and the Fife property market overall. The election will undoubtedly affect the Fife property market, as everything will go nice in the 3 or 4 weeks before the election itself. That's key. You have to remember, if you're tuning into this right now, when we come into an election, it is typically that most things go nice for property sales and property purchases for about 3 or 4 weeks before the election. What's your final thoughts?
So I think as we progress into the 5th month of 2024, the months are just flying. Property market presents. Sorry?
Should be Christmas.
Well,
July the 17th.
July the 17th,
the year before Christmas. July the 17th, your D-Day. If you're not got your house in the market before July the 17th, you're hedging your bets for Christmas moving.
Yeah, but the Fife property market does present challenges and opportunities for buyers and sellers. So understanding these market subtitles and crucial is crucial for everybody considering a move from existing homeowners to seasoned buy-to-let investors, first-time buyers, or even those looking to relocate to Fife.
Yeah, it's the subtleties of the market overall, isn't it? So stay flexible, stay informed. Remember that your home moving experience is much about the journey as the destination. I mean, I'd be interested to hear other people's thoughts on the Fife property market and the developing property market itself, and where they see it. Do you, out there, if you're tuning in just now, do you anticipate any other shifts or trends in the Fife property market? And what are your local insights and experience yourself in your particular area? It'd be interesting to hear that back from other people. So if you've got a chance, stick something in the comments or message us direct on this post. Thanks for coming on, Richard. And that's the midweek show finished. And I'll see you on Saturday morning. We're doing a letting show on Saturday morning, and I'm can't off the life of me.
It's net zero letting.
Oh, net zero. What's all that about then? Is that just about
energy efficiency?
Energy efficiency and that. Brilliant. Okay. So Fife property market
we're doing that on Saturday.
And lettings market, and then Sunday night update, 7 o'clock, wealth creation show, but we'll talk about that in the week. Until next time, guys, it's bye-bye from us. See you later and have a fantastic rest of the week. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks, Jim.